Welcome back. Welcome to the post show if you just arrived. It is great to be back with you, full of energy, ready to roll. 2 weeks off. How do you describe it? Thank you so much for you guys giving me the time off. I give you double thumbs up for that. Appreciate it very, very, very much. So good to see some of you back with me. I'm going to talk about that here a second. I'm going to postpone the greeting to let a few more people jump back in. I do see you. I have the chat opened here. Again, how I get from the first show to the post show and be ready to go is always amazing to me. So if you are here already, you deserve to see this. So I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right away. Let's see. How do I cut to this? You would think that I would know how to do this. What would be the best way to do this? Let's just go like this. And we cut. I see it in the program view. There you go. This is the beginning of a project that I'm working on. My wife would say that she would probably communicate that I have a bat problem. We have a bat problem at our house. I'm not sure why we have a bat problem. I mean, this house is only 3 years old, but we already are being invaded with bats. I don't know exactly why she would say that. It makes absolutely no sense to me why she would say we're being invaded by bats, because in reality, I'm not really quite sure why she would say that, because I don't really know what her premise is. I mean, seriously, I feel like I work hard. I spend lots of time in the studio, and but yet I'm the reason for the bat problem. I don't get exactly where she's coming from. So again, I have a project I'm going to talk about tonight. We also have a special guest coming in 2 weeks in the live show. I'd have him in the post show, but he is unavailable at that time slot. So he's going to be in the live show at 4 o'clock. We'll talk about that in a minute. When I talk about a little bit more things, I place an order for a camera. That's a story in itself. We're going to talk about that experience and where that has put me. I'm in the middle of that experience right now. We talked about in the live show my experience this last week in working with a HyperDeck, and I spent way more time than I thought I was going to in my 2 weeks off when I wanted to be producing some videos and some projects. But again, I've started those projects, got some things done, shot a video, have another 1.5-hour video that's marked private right now we're going to talk about in the minute. So please remind me if I forget in the chat before we go tonight. I want to talk about my 1.5-hour long video series that I'm going to chop up into some pieces, but it's actually on YouTube right now, marked private. I've invited one of you that's in the chat tonight to see that video series and give me your critique. And who knows, I might invite another one of you. But again, before it goes live, it's going to be divided up into segments. I have some other work to do to intro those. And we'll see when that goes live. But that video's done. It's just too long. 1.5 hours long is crazy. We'll talk about that later, what that video is about. Please don't give it out. If you're that one person that's already watched it tonight, let me hold that till later. So again, I have some projects. Let's say hi to the guys in the chat here before we get going. And if you wonder why I reach across me, I have to grab my mouse. One of the things that I am struggling with the Wacom tablet is the glare from my light, for one. And then because of the size I have the chat, I can sometimes get ahead of it. So let me just make sure. Come on. Where are you? Okay, I guess I am all the way to the top. So good to have Hank here, Stop and Think, on the post show. Obviously, the post show is more about my personal world, things that I'm doing. It'll always involve a little bit of everything, including tech, including live streaming, including video production. You might see something in my garage. You might meet some puppets. You might hear about Batman, a bat in my house. We'll see, but good to see you. Thanks for joining me here. Freddie says he's ready for the post show. Did those go on the air here? No, they're not going on the air. What's going on? Chat on the air. Let's try this again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, and that's the problem right there. I had to switch in my A10 Mini Pro because I switched over to my Apple TV to show you guys the Batman. So let's try that again. Good to have you here. Stop and think. Standing by for the post show. Hank from Bluffton, South Carolina. He's on the screen right now. Freddie is here for the post show. Freddie's a cool cat. Is that the Blackmagic Design Cinema 6K Pro? Yeah, in that picture it is. We'll talk about that in a bit. I was still working on getting ready when those messages were coming in. Joe says I had to step away for a phone call, but I'm back and for the post show, looking forward to it. It's good to have you here, Joe from Controlling Technologies. Tony's here from QuickTech, back for the post show. We got to get a new song. I hear this song in my sleep. Yeah, I probably am going to change tracks, but you know it's me, right? So I hear you. I'm there too. Wow, Freddie's ready for a change too. Wow, I guess the votes are in. I'm going to have to get a new track. David, great to see you all the way from Australia, I think. So good to have you as always. Great channel. Go check it out. In fact, check out all the channels here, those of you to have them. And we are going to have in the springtime soon, we are going to have some people live with me. What I'd like to do is have a Zoom call and bring some of you into the live show. We'll see how that works. That's how I brought Adam in. And I am going to be playing around with that technology very soon. It'd be great just to have some of you pop in and say hi live. I haven't seen anybody else do that. I've seen them have people on their show, but I'd like to have some of the regulars invited to pop into my show, and that would be great. There's no real landmarks to celebrate. At this point, we're ways from 2,000 subscribers, and I have an idea what I'll do for that anyway, but good to have you here tonight, David. Yes, Blackmagic Design did get back to me on the HyperDeck, and I talked about that in the live show, which just finished up a little while ago. And we did not come to a resolution. I'm still doing some testing on my end. They are asking for more feedback from other people. So if you have not reached out to Blackmagic Design to let them know you're having a disconnect on the IP address issue, they seemed, at least the tech that I talked to, and I'm sure they have multiple techs that handle people reaching out to them, they did not seem to know that it was a software issue. They wanted me to send my HyperDecks back, and I said, wait a minute. If it was my HyperDeck, then it's a bunch of HyperDecks, because I know lots of people right now that are having that problem. And because I've kind of positioned myself to focus quite a bit on HyperDecks, I get a lot of comments from people on my videos. And if you go back and kind of look at some of my videos, especially my recent one on that disconnect, you'll see some people saying that they're having that issue. So please let Blackmagic Design know you're having that issue, and go back and watch my live show where I talked a little bit more about how I want to try to gather your tech codes through email only. So you'd have to go to my website, lifejourneyproductionstudios.com, go to the contact page and start an email back and forth with me. And then if you'd like to share that tech code with me when you get your tech on with you and they start that code, then I would be happy to let them know these are other people having the same issue that I'm connected with. And who knows, maybe Blackmagic Design will watch these videos or watch my other video. We'll see. So 11 days now, NAB. Yeah, so NAB, let's talk about that for a minute. I'll address this, Freddie, right now. No, I did not do the flames myself. That is a green screen deal I bought years ago. I needed it for a project. So it was a site you could get certain amount of things free and certain amount of things to use. And that's one of the things that I kept. I have one that's green screen with dust. I did not create those. I do want to create some stuff with green screen, and we'll talk about that in the near future. So let's go back to this right here, Freddie. I think that's a great conversation for us to have. NAB is coming up. in 11 days. And I do have some excitement towards that. I can't wait for the announcements, and there's some things already being announced. I don't really focus my channel on speculation and all that. I shared with you that I'm hoping for a ATEM rack mounted with all the features of the extreme ISO, and my wish list would be that it has 16 inputs and another HDMI out. And I don't know, throw in some SDI inputs would be cool as well. Or bring out a new HyperDeck and answer my wish list and give me a HDMI out that can be used as a key channel and not just one that you can use as a alpha channel or a main video channel. So that's kind of what I talked about in the last stream, but NAB is going to give us something, right? There's lots of rumors. We may get a different camera from Blackmagic Design. As Freddie is excited, I'm excited as well. Aaron Preki is going to be there. He's going to do some live interviews, so I plan on following Aaron, and he's got a great channel. I try to tune in as often as I can on Sundays, and there's other great channels out there as well. You got Here to Record with John Barker, and so check out some of those channels. These guys are, some of them go deeper than I do. I've tried to focus on some items, and we talk about those in the live shows. Not going to talk a lot more about the HyperDecks tonight, other than I have a video queued in the HyperDeck that I want to show you guys, and it's to introduce a project that I am getting ready to start. And I'll tell you why in just a second, but let me play this video. So I'm going to change discs again in my HyperDeck Mini Studio Mini, and then cue this video. It looks cute. I see it in the background back here. And let me cut to this video right now. I'm going to turn my logo off, and let's cut to this input now. So this is a project that I'm working on. I'm starting this weekend. I began to get the parts and pieces together, and I'm going to show those with you now. My son, my oldest son, and if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know I try to connect with my kids. I talked to my daughter, Nicole. She is going to be on a show this spring. We have a project that we want to do together, and so we're waiting for the weather to actually warm up. We actually had the snow the last couple days, which is not normal for where I live in April, but it's not sticking and the sun's coming out. That will be great. But this project that I'm doing is because I was motivated by my oldest son. My oldest son is 39 years old and doing great. He's working right now with a company selling solar panels, did really good last month, got all kinds of accolades, and I'm very proud of him. And he is super, super into all the Batman movies. I've been kind of 1996 Batman. You guys know that if you hung out on my channel. You know, I have the ventriloquist puppets. You know that I love tech. And I have Canon cameras here. I got to hold a Blackmagic Design Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro for the very first time and got to see it again yesterday. We're going to talk about that and our special guest shortly. But this project is a shout out to my oldest son, because I want when my kids come over and I get a chance to come back here, used to be the man cave, and now it's a production studio / man cave. I have 3 chairs here because my second oldest son has moved back in the area, even though he travels 20 days every single month, pretty much, overseas for number of reasons. He's home and he has a house now. He just moved in last week, which is exciting. We got to watch a movie on his new 85-inch Samsung TV from the same line that this one is back here, but very, very high-end TV, Sonos system, and we got a chance to watch the first movie together on a screen. After we hung it, 2 of my boys helped me hang it over time, move it in, and it was crazy. My oldest son was there, Chris, and my second oldest son, Nathan, and we got to hang that TV, but it was just Nathan and I later that night that got a chance to watch the movie, and then he was having to get up and pack and get ready to get on an airplane at 5 a.m. in the morning. So all last week, we were just trying to get to that point where we could get this TV mounted, and if you ever put an 85-inch TV on a fireplace that is stone, you know that it is not the easiest thing on the planet. So that's my son, Nathan, and my oldest son, Christopher, is really into Batman. So when we were all together, we went to the Batman movie together. And my oldest son, Christopher, has watched it, I think, 5 times. And I went to the theater with him a second time to watch it. Got to be honest, I actually kind of dozed off because it wasn't new for me. But the influence of Batman in my family and Batman in our culture and just the movie, I thought it would be really cool to do a project with my oldest son, Christopher. And so that's what we're going to do. So I have over here on the shelf, and I'm going to pull this down right now. I found this. It's not very expensive. It's just a plastic Batman sign, and it can go on or off. So it's off now. Button number 1 has it come on and off, and you're not going to see the light super bright. See if I can get it to come on. It's coming on now. So it has 2 modes, has it just on and then a dissolve in, dissolve out mode. And so this and a couple other items are going to go together for a look at a scene from the movie. So this is going to be in that scene. This guy possibly will be in that scene. This is little Batman. I have a Batmobile coming. It's the 1/18th scale Jada Batman Mobile will be here on Saturday. That's going to be in display. It lights up and it is really, really cool. That's the one you saw in that video. I'm not sure I'll be able to get him to stand back up. And then I have these supplies. I have some paint. I have 4 cans of paint, different colors. This is actually, I don't know, a little rag can or something like that I bought at Walmart, and it is going to be a stand in my display. Then I bought this. This is actually a holder for rolls of paper towels, but I saw it on the aisle, and we're going to bend this. We might use this, haven't decided yet, and I have wire on it right now because we'll talk about what we're going to do with that wire here in a second. And then inside here, and I have some more wire. I have a strip of LED lights with a battery operated little controller, which will possibly be using, and I can turn those lights on right now. And so that's going to be something in my display. It comes with a little remote control. And so we'll set those in here. And then I have these trays. These are like these little table trays that I got from Walmart as well. And they stack together. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And so these are going to be the platform. And obviously this is going to come out and that sign is going to hook on the front of it. And it may be 2 tiers. I haven't decided yet. I got to work that out. And then we're going to have the Batmobile. The Batmobile is going to be flying over the sign. It's going to have smoke and fire in the background. It's going to light up, and it's going to be able to be up on that top shelf back there again. And we're going to talk at one of the post shows with my oldest son, Christopher, about our love for everything Batman and then the technology. And we'll talk about, he's into music and audio engineering, things like that over the years. I was as well. He's also kind of into lots of things tech and related, and he plays drums, and he's very excited about being a part of this project. And then we may build one for him after we build this one. So we both have these, and it'll just be one of those memories that we'll be able to share together. So this will be the base. This is going to go on top of the base, most likely. The sign is going to go in the front of that. See if I can start putting this together, give you a visual. And this has screw holes in the back. Batmobile is going to come flying over that. Not in motion. It's just going to be stationary. And this little can thing is going to be surrounded with flames and fire. I even thought about getting a semi-truck and having it lay behind it, but it just won't all fit. And it all comes from a scene in the movie where the Riddler, and I have him here, excuse me, the Penguin. Sorry about that. The Penguin is actually trying to get away from Batman, and he thinks he has Batman destroyed. And there's this explosion from the semi and cars behind him, and he's yelling, "I got you, Batman! I got you, Batman!" And then suddenly, that scene in the movie where Batman comes flying over top of that semi truck, completely on fire, lands, runs into the Penguin's car. It flips a number of times. It's a great scene. And I think one of my favorite moments is when he's looking back in the rearview mirror and here comes the Batmobile after he says, "I got you." And there's just something about that moment in the video, that moment in the movie that spurred up a lot of the graphics and the logo and the fire. That was really an influential moment in that movie. And so we're going to build something for my shelves, which I've always said that having cool things and memories on the shelf helps motivate me. And so I try to have things around here in my studio that really remind me of treasures, of moments with people. And because I believe that people are the greatest commodity that we have in the world. It dwarfs money, or trumps money 1,000 million times, because you can get more money. It's really hard to find quality relationships with people that you can create memories that you never, ever forget. And those good memories are the ones that I want to be focusing on, not the bad memories. And so I'm going to make a good memory with my oldest son. I've made a number of other ones, and I'm really excited about that. So again, that's my Batman rant. I will move on to Blackmagic Design Cinema Camera 6K Pro. And again, Matt is going to be my guest here in the studio. I do not have his big picture on the screen, but I will throw this up real quickly. So that's Matt in the top right-hand side, and that is the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. And I got a chance to go over and see the build again yesterday, and we talked about a date to have him on the live stream and talk about sound and video. Now, in all fairness to him, he got thrown into video during what happened in our world, right? A couple of years ago, he was in charge of all of the sound and all of those things and lighting, and that was his gig. He owns a sound company. He travels and does big concerts. He's an incredible sound tech. He's done sound front stage, back of stage, out in the giant venues, indoors and outdoors for a company, as well as he has his own private company. And I've known him since he was younger. My oldest son, Christopher, and him played in the band together. And so we have this history. He's a great drummer, and we're going to talk a little bit about video and audio in a venue and some of the challenges. We're going to talk, he's going to bring that camera with him, the whole kit and caboodle. So we have the HyperDeck on top, which is the Spark, which will do 0.1 milliseconds of delay in visual line. And so he's going to have that. It's on the DJI Ronin S2. He's got a battery mounted to it. We have all kinds of other little things, a part of that kit. And we're going to talk about that kit and have it in the studio. And I'm going to be able to show you some actual video footage from that venue, from that Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K Pro. And so I'm excited to have Matt on the show 2 weeks from tonight. And so I hope that you guys will mark that in your calendar and show up. We're going to be on the table that night. I'm going to have to run things from there for part of the show while I'm interviewing him. And then I'll be back at the desk. And then we have some other cool things in the post show. We may even have part of that project done. You guys are going to see it before YouTube sees it. So if you tune in my shows, you're going to see parts of that going together. And then I will post a video of that DIY project, the Batmobile, online as well. And we're also going to have some footage on the show next week, not only with that camera in the show. Who knows, we may even hook it up and use it remotely here in the house. We'll see. But it's going to be an exciting 2 weeks from tonight is going to be exciting at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I hope you'll mark your calendar for that. We would have done it next week, but he is on the road with his sound company doing some big events, and he does that quite often. And he has a team that runs the venue when he's gone. And video production and live streaming at that venue is something that is new, and at the level that they're going for now is even newer. And he's learning, and I'm learning, and we're learning together. And I'm just volunteering. This is not a client of mine. My family's been involved in this venue for years, and especially my parents. And because of my relationship with Matt and our history that we have in the band that they were in together, and growing up with my oldest son and their relationship, I am just lending whatever skill set I have to try to help him answer all these problems. And we did a lot of research for that kit together. So we will be talking Cinema Camera 6K Pro and HyperDeck Spark and some of the other things that we have in that rig 2 weeks from tonight, and we'll be hands-on. So I hope you'll join me for that. Hey, MT, great to see you. Thanks for saying hello. Thank you for joining me. Sorry that I missed you till just now. He said he just woke up. It's 2:45 a.m. there. Yeah, and I appreciate that. MT's on a lot of the other streams that I go to. One of the things I want to say about MT is this. He says hi, and I was about to say it. You beat me to the punch. He'll greet everybody. When I go to Aaron Parecki's live streams, I would be shocked if MT did not say hi directly to me. And so I have a huge respect for his chat room etiquette, and I just love that. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, MT. I appreciate getting a chance to, all I see is your logo and hear what you say in the chats. I know you have lots of knowledge when it comes to technology and live streaming, and I appreciate that, and I'm honored that you would be in the live stream tonight. So we've talked to Batman. We talked about Matt coming in the very near future. You can also see in that still that I wanted to have some shop talk, right? Some shop talk. What is shop talk? Well, shop talk is that stuff that we all do in the background, right? I have to do it before I ever go live. I was having issues today, literally in Google, trying to get on my YouTube channel. I thought I was going to have to use my PC exclusively, which I use mainly for chat. My laptop for monitoring, sharing my screen, and showing you those things. And I am going to show you that fire logo with Batman here in just a minute. But I just wanted to say, there's a lot of these things that you do in the background, like I'll design logos. If I had, like I woke up this morning with these still ideas in my head, right? That still idea like this one right here. Let's roll it again. And I didn't complete this one. I ran out of time. That would have been a better still for tonight. But there's a number of effects on that. And that's the shop talk. You can't just go live without having work in behind the scenes. So if you're thinking about live streaming, if you're watching this during the live stream, the post show, or you're watching it later on my channel, there's a lot of shop things going on in the background. So getting ready for a stream, you might have to clean up. I just got done cleaning up the garage. I have this goal of using my A10 Mini Pro out there with a camera. And I may do it wirelessly 2 weeks from tonight, so I don't have to use my ATEM. I want to stream through the streaming bridge into my office here in my studio from my garage using a long cat cable I have. I have the 50-foot cat cable, and see if I can get that to work. And then I can leave here, go to the garage, come back, and not have to use a remote camera. So I'm planning on setting up my Canon 5D Mark III. And using that in the garage and starting the stream out there and talking about that project and some other stuff that I'm going to be doing in the garage. So shop talk is just that. So you are probably working on something in your studio or your streaming gig, or you may have just purchased something. You're trying to hook it up. What are you working on right now in your studio? Is there a new product that you're excited about? A new lens, a new camera, something you're trying to figure out? Did you just get a HyperDeck? Are you trying to learn how to use a product? You have a different piece of gear that we don't talk about here on the channel that you are working on setting up. I'd love to hear it in the chat tonight. And I'd love to talk about some of the cool products that we're going to see coming from Blackmagic Design and some of the other designers out there at NAB in 11 days. And I'd love to hear what you're hoping for as well in the chat tonight. So Tony says hi to MT. That's cool. MT says you're welcome. And then Freddie says hi. So anything you're looking forward at NAB, I'd love to hear it in the chat. Is there anything that you're working on in the shop, right? Shop could be your work table. It could be a table in your studio. It could be part of your desk. I'm working on some projects right now for a couple clients. I have a client that is learning how to use the A10 Mini Pro and the HyperDeck. And I told you guys that I have an 1.5-hour video series that I made. I actually made that specifically because of a client and got permission to actually cut that up and use it as a post video on my channel to help other people with the A10 Mini Pro. And so he actually kind of semi-sponsored that because he's a client. and motivated me to do that. So a shout out to him. Once I have his permission, I will actually share who he is and maybe have him on a live stream so you guys can meet him. So clients like that are always giving me shop projects. I had one text to me today, 2 videos from a venue I'm working with up in Snohomish, Washington, that need to be posted before the weekend. And then I was over at the venue here in Richland talking with Matt yesterday and looking at the video. We're talking about syncing it with other cameras, a couple Ursa cameras, a couple other cameras that aren't Blackmagic design. And we're just talking about the lighting and white balancing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the white balancing when we get back in 2 weeks. So what are you working at in your shop? And then what are you doing for fun in your shop? Because the other thing I wanted to talk about is it's cool to have projects that you need to do for clients and for work and your studio and for live streams. And I do that. I mean, it takes me pretty much a whole day to get ready for these lives. And I wake up with these crazy still image ideas. And so I had to produce those today. Never even got done to get the Batman one as cool as I wanted it to be. We'll look at that here in a second. So, but again, I want to work on fun projects. So I have one with my daughter scheduled. And I have this one that I was working on with my son last week, which is mainly getting his house ready. And then one with my oldest son, who is obviously excited about the Batman project. And then my youngest son, Bryson, who lives here in the house with us and is a gamer. He's been on my channel before, so we've done a lot of cool projects with him. In fact, he has this second Keylight Air because that's what I decided to get him again for a birthday this year. So now he has 2 in his studio, and he does some streaming of games, so that's exciting. So I'm waiting for some input. Any shop talk that you guys have in the post show, or are you just going to sit there and listen to me do all the talking? Cool. I'm so excited. Thank you, Tony. You are my hero so far. There you go. Tony says, I've been working on several things. You are aware I've been testing the SRT. I'm in the process of building a ProMox VM server and currently playing with a new Synology DSM 7.1 release. Yeah, I know. I've been checking out your channel. To quote a Jeff Dunham moment with Peanut, his puppet. Wah! A lot of that goes over my head, but I do love to consume those videos, Tony, and watch those and try to learn. I obviously know a little bit about Synology and done some research, and I know that things are changing in that industry, from spinning drives, Barracuda drives, to all of these new SSD drives that are super fast. And it'll be interesting to see kind of where that backup technology or whole house clouds inside your house, where that technology goes. So cool. And I saw that you have your wrestling posters up in your studio. So I know that was part of a project, your drums, Tony, in your studio. That was really cool. I know that was something that you added to your studio recently, and the wrestling thing you did in your last studio tour. So cool stuff. And I was encouraged and excited to see those projects. So anybody else? Cajoling, Joe says, I am currently installing Lutron smart dimmers for new recessed lights so I can control with Alexa. That's awesome. Man, that would be cool. I hope that ends up being a video on your channel, because I would love to check that out. I've been looking at, I can remote control my MC lights, and I had one on my Batman figure and that little bat sign when I cut to that at the beginning of tonight's post show. So you guys can see that. And again, that little Batman is laying right here, and he looks way more cool in front of that sign with red light on him. So I can remote control that from the app on my phone. And I have other lights in my studio that I can control, including my Elgato key light and my key light mini and my other key light right there. And I have a remote control here for my Godex lights. So I have one that's kind of a rim light right here. And then I have one that fills up the room back here. And then that LED light is actually remote control from my Stream Deck, so I can do lots of controlling here, and I love to be able to sit down and turn lights on without having to get up, and I don't know if that makes me lazy or not. So, okay, so before we go too late tonight, I want to make sure I bring this up and talk you guys through this project. And it looks like I lost a layer. How would that happen? How could I lose a key layer to my logo here? I've never seen this happen. Did I delete it by mistake? No, there, that is. Okay, scared me there for a minute. I have some files on my spinning drive, Tony. I have a 10 terabyte Western Digital backup drive, and I always forget I'm so spoiled with my SD drives. I mean, if you can go this way, right? These are expensive, over $200 for a 2 terabyte, over $100 for a 1 terabyte. This one actually is like the fastest one I have in the studio. They're all over 1,000 megabytes a second, so you can edit video on these. I haven't tried 6K or 4K, but I do HDMI all the time, high def, 1080p. But again, I want to show you guys this logo. So, so thank you for sharing that. QuickTech Solutions just installed several Leviton smart dimmers to control lighting in the house using Apple HomeKit and Siri. Yeah, and that was part of your new house build, right? That's kind of your lights throughout your house. That's cool. And in fact, my wife and I joke about how one day we're going to be able to walk in and be able to say, and I guess it's Alexa or Siri, Siri, can you turn the kitchen lights on and start coffee? I mean, I think we're not far off from that technology. It's kind of funny that we're all experimenting with it. And I think it's kind of archaic still. You know, it's at this level, but I think pretty soon it's going to get to a really smart level. And I think that's kind of, Tony, what you're dealing with in your studio. So go out and check QuickTech Solutions channel out and learn about some of this stuff that Tony shares on his channel. Same with cajoling. And there's other channels here as well. So, okay. And again, thank you so much, MT, for being here at 2:45 in the morning. I hope that you have coffee. So, okay, let me bring up this screen. Let me go into me and my desktop here, my desktop and me, and let me take you through this setup. So if you are going to do still images, you can do that through Adobe Illustrator. I have it open right here. And so this is just a photograph that I took of my Batman sign on my PC. It's on top of my black case, my NZXT case, and I just wanted a picture of this lit up because I was going to use it as a background to this. So I'm using Adobe Illustrator for photographs. I also edit photographs in Lightroom. If I want to make my face look nicer for a still image, I might edit out some of the crevices in my face. I might take a nose hair out. You never know what I'll do when I have a chance to edit me before I go on a still image. So putting these things together in Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, and I'm not a big Photoshop guy. I tell you, I do mostly Photoshop for, believe it or not, over the years, I do most of my editing for photographs in Lightroom, but I do Photoshop mainly to change JPEGs into PNG files, transparent graphics, as well as use the eraser tool. If I miss anything or any debris or anything in an image, I'll bring it into Photoshop and I'll use the eraser tool. I know that's horrible. I've always been kind of semi-intimidated with Photoshop. I'm not of Illustrator. I'm not intimidated of After Effects anymore. I'm not intimidated at all in Premiere Pro. I've been using it for over 10 years, and I can do a lot of tricks in Premiere Pro. So let's talk about this. Let's strip back the layers here and go back to the main layer. So that's that image, and it's blown up. So if I click on that image, it lights up this channel, and then I can go over here and I can shrink it, go out and in a 1080p frame. Now that was a 4K frame. I'd have to adjust it the same way, or a 720p frame. I'd have to adjust it the same way. But right now, I adjusted that into the background where I wanted it. And then you add the next layer, which is the flames. And again, this is, using Ultra Key. Ultra Key is right here on the left-hand side. You open up your effects. So if I delete the search, I open up the effects panel. So I have my media panel, libraries, info on the graphics if you want to know information about the graphic. And then the effects panel next to that is this library. You can color code things. I really spend most of my time right in that panel, this panel, and then the main panel, which is where all my clips and stuff are, and my still images and my graphics. But if I need to bring an effect in, it's just a drag and drop procedure. First of all, I need to find it in all these folders. And then I purchased a set from, it's called Transition Punch. I'll talk about this one night in the channel. But I have a whole bunch of graphics from Cinepunch that I use, and I love those. They are very, very computer intensive. But if I want to find the Ultra Key, which comes with Premiere Pro, I just type in Ultra in the search and hit enter, and it'll bring up the Ultra Key. You would just grab that with your mouse, hold it down, and drag it over on that clip. Now, I already have it there because you can see that Ultra Key on this particular clip is right here. And it was a green screen clip. And if you want to see what that clip looks like, I will find it in the project here. And there it is. So if I bring it over there, there's that clip without the green removed, and it's got smoke and fire in that clip. And so again, that clip is the clip that I used, and I used Ultra Key to fine tune that to get the look I was looking for. And I wanted fire in the back by the sign, and I wanted fire in the front. So then I added another layer right here, which is the Batmobile. And I put that together. First of all, it's a picture of the Batmobile from online, and because I don't have mine yet. And then that's also a Batman from online. So my 1/18 scale Batman is going to come with that figure. I can't fold him up and put him in the car. That's why I bought this one, because this guy will be able to go inside the car, inside the seat, because I want a Batman inside there. I'm not sure this is the right size until that car gets here. I may have to go back to the store and buy a bigger one. The good news is they're pretty well readily available in town for a while longer. So now you add the layer of the Batmobile, and I've dirtied it up. I've added effects to it because it was just a picture online. I've added the color effects. I've added some flickering effects, some distortion, because once you add this next fire layer and you're playing it, there should be some results from that. And you can see the car actually is warping and changing colors when I play this. Now I need to re-render this because for some reason my render isn't there anymore. And you have to watch this thing render. Actually, you know what? Probably a bad thing to do with my laptop right now, because this takes pretty much all of my laptop. So hopefully I won't lose the live stream in the middle of watching this thing render. So I'm going to stop it right there, because what that'll do is give me the ability to play a little bit of this. And the reason that my render changed actually is because I changed the size of my back layer. And so if I went back here and I did undo, then it's back. So now I can play it and use my render files and then turn these guys back on. And I may have to undo even further. And we'll just leave it like this for now. I'm not going to render it. So now the biggest work was done on the Batman layer itself. So let's break that down. Let's move the background out, and let's move the foreground fire out, and let's move this fire out. Nope, this fire here. So just the Batman, I added a number of effects. And so if we look at the Batman layer and we go up here to effects, this is the area that you would manipulate those effects. And I can actually set timers. And you can see I did. I brought in a turbulent displace effect. and I actually went through here and I made changes, and you do that with nodes. So I made changes in the turbulence. If you go down here further, I also added a Luma color effect to bring in some of this red dinge around it. And then I up and raised and lowered that. And then once you render all of that, including I have this glowing effect on here as well. So it's got an orange glow on it. And that is all along the timeline as well. And then I also could add that red color in if I wanted to as well. And some of these effects I play with occasionally, but not that often. But if you add that all together and then you play it, it adds all of this crazy effect to the car, from lighting effects to a warp effect. You can actually see right here, the car is warping, which when you look through flames, the distortion that you normally see in a flame, I wanted to pull out in the vehicle. So I did that. So there's actually distortion. And so I can turn these off the same way. So if I go right here and turn off the turbulence effect, and then I go up here and I turn off this Luma color effect, and then I go down here and I turn off the VR effect, and then I go down here. Let's see, up. Is there anything else left on? So I think that most of them are off now. I still see a little bit of red on there, and I'm not seeing where I left. Oh, there we go. Turn the VR glow off, the Luma color effect off. And that's most of them. So all of those effects affected that car, and they have to be rendered, and then you would then render the whole video once it's all done. And that's the cool thing about these workflows, as well as Adobe Premiere, After Effects, is that you can add these effects. So even if you just wanted to capture a still image, sometimes you got to make these things up as you go. And so you can do it graphically, or I could go in the garage, pull the green screen down, which you're going to see in a future video, and do it with my own hands with flame and fire. And so let me talk to this a little bit about how I'm going to build this little Batman. And because that's not going to be done in a video, it's all going to be done in real time. It's not going to be animated like the flames in this video. It's literally going to be a standing image with flames and fire. And I'm going to be using stuffing and paint cans and spray cans to get the effect I'm looking for. And it's going to be a fun project. And then that will be all lit up. So the Batmobile lights up, the sign lights up. I'm going to have lights in the platform that will light up underneath the Batmobile, as well as other effects that would be really cool in that display. And then that's going to send on that top shelf up there, and we'll see it live in a live stream. So that's how that went together. So let's bring all of these back on. Turn you on. Turn you on and you on. Turn the VR color on. Looks like they're all on. Bring these layers back on. And if I was doing a still image, I would probably use it right about here. And then right over here, you have this little camera, and I can snap a picture, and I can tell it where on my computer I want it to go. So I could use that as my still image for a live show. I can name it. I can select if I want it to be a JPEG, and that can be the still image for my channel. And then I can incorporate that in a still, or it could be the whole still. I could design it all in Adobe or After Effects, or even in Adobe Illustrator. So that's it on that. I hope you enjoyed that shop talk, as well as some of the things I'm going to be able to do actually inside the studio. And I may even play with some flame effects for that live stream and show you guys my own green screen effect in the garage. I'm not sure how I'd do that. Probably lay down foil before I do any burning in my garage, because I don't want to toast my concrete. So, okay. Any other thoughts or comments? Tony says, cool special effects. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tony. Freddie says, the flames are awesome. And yeah, I do need to add some shadows under the car. And that's what this will be for. So this will actually, I'm going to actually be able to create shadows on this. This will be painted black. It's going to look like concrete. And that's what everything's going to be built on. And this is going to look like concrete. It's going to have some ability to reflect light. So I want it to kind of glisten. And I actually kind of want it at a not flat. I'm thinking about actually having this not level because it will show up better as a display, and it may be multi-levels, and they'll definitely be able to cast shadow on there because I know how to use light to cast shadows, and I want the car to have that black shadow. And you never know, I may have a another one when we build my son's, maybe him walking, the Batman, walking away from the car. We haven't decided yet what we're going to do with his display, but thank you for that input, MT. And that's what he said right there. No, right there. And so I will add some shadows underneath the car in the future. And Freddie's reminding me of my 1.5 hour series. So thank you, Freddie. I asked Freddie to take a look at this series. And so he did, and we kind of communicated back and forth. And thank you, Freddie, for watching my hour-and-a-half A10 Mini Pro getting started. I decided to go back to the Pro because the price dropped, and I know a lot of people are purchasing A10 Mini Pro still and Pro ISOs. So I didn't have a really good, thorough video on my channel. So I decided to do that. Started with a client who I did a training in Zoom. We went to record that, and I forgot to flip over my Hostess switch. So I did this whole recording with the client so I could send it to him after we were done. And I did not have any audio going into my A10 Mini Extreme ISO at all. And so I could not use that video. It was unusable. So we talked about it. I told him I'd like to do more of a systematic training now that we look back on all the things he learned that day. So it turned out to be an hour-and-a-half long video. It was 2 days in the making, minimum, from the time of shooting it to the time of recording it. And then I will supplement it with some of the videos I already have on my channel for clients, which I already do. But I needed something in the background to help people. And right now it's private. And if you would like to view that video, go to my lifejourneyproductions.com webpage, subscribe either on the main page or go to my contact page. If you don't want to subscribe to my mailing list, and I rarely send anything out, it's usually if I'm having a big event like a studio tour or something like that, you would get an email alert, which would help you be prepared to not miss it if you want to be there live. But if you don't want to subscribe, you can just go and contact me and I will email you back, and I'll be happy to give you a private access to watch that. I'd love to get your input. It's an hour-and-a-half training on the A10 Mini Pro. I don't focus a lot on HyperDecks. I mainly talk about all of the features in the A10 Mini Pro. It could be longer. I covered most of them, but there's still a couple features that I did not go deep into in that series. So again, that's private right now, so you can't go on my channel. I do plan on breaking it up into, I think, 3 videos. And so hopefully I'll have that on the channel real soon. But if you would like to have a private viewing and you attend my live streams on a regular basis, then reach out to me and I would be happy to invite you to check that out. And you'll have to log into your Google account to be able to use that link because it is private. So again, I covered that. It is 1/4 we have done 2 shows tonight. I would love to answer any questions that you have about anything I've covered tonight. If you have any questions, please ask them. Thank you so much for those of you that attended tonight. I appreciate it. I'm a little rusty both in the studio and in my live streams because I have been so busy with other projects and not streaming live. And it's practice does make perfect, and streaming every week really helps you do a better job of it. So thank you guys so much for your patience tonight with some of my little mistakes, but I hope that those things that we saw in the background are cool. And I would love to answer any other questions that you have, and it would be cool. If not, we will wrap it up, but I know we're a little bit delayed, so I'm going to wait. Appreciate you very much being a part of these lives, and share them, like them, which brings me to this little subscribe button right here, which I also created in After Effects, and not very complicated, but it does have some motion to it. It is a pre-multiplied, and I love having that little share thing go off to the right and then fall off. Let's play that one more time just for kicks and giggles tonight as I'm waiting for questions to come in. Thank you so much, Tony. It's great to be with you. I'd much rather be hanging out with you in your studio, getting a personal tour, maybe someday, but it's great that we get to hang out here on social media and be in a live stream together. And it's an honor to have you and to call you friend. So cool. Freddie, thank you again for watching my video, hour and a half, and giving me your insights and your feedback. I appreciate that, and your friendship as well. Thank you so much, Freddie. You are a rock star, and one day we'll get your studio up and running, and we'll have you on the show, and we'll talk about your setup there in Venezuela. So Freddie didn't know what to do last Tuesday. Well, I hope you could hang out with your family or go see a sunset or do something. Again, I know it's a different time down there. It's later in Venezuela than it is here. So MT, thanks, Keith. Great show. Even I missed the first part. Yeah, thank you. I try to pack my live streams in with lots of information. Why do it just to go live and hear me talk if we don't have something to cover? If I can't show you some tips and tricks, maybe learn something from you. I enjoy that just as much as teaching other people. I love learning and growing, and I love to explore your channel. So, okay, well, unless you have a question, I am going to bid you good night. And again, on behalf of my family and Life Journey Production Studios here in Richland, Washington, and my oldest son, and his love for Batman and these projects, thank you for letting me share them with you, and use that as an opportunity to show some Adobe Premiere tricks and tips. And I'm going to have a blast hands-on building that, and not being in my studio, in my office, building it in Adobe Premiere, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be even more fun to be building it out in the shop, in the garage, and having some fun with my son, just like I have fun with you guys live in these streams. Well, it looks like we're done. No questions, no other comments. Again, thank you so much for joining me here in the live post show. And thank those of you that were in the live show. I appreciate that as well. Please like and subscribe and share those videos if you are encouraged or they helped you and you learned anything. Thank you so much. And again, go over to lifejourneyproductions.com if you'd like to hit me up to watch that 1.5 hour A10 Mini Pro getting started video. And I have another one I'm planning on doing, getting started with HyperDecks with the A10 Mini Pro and the Extreme ISO. They're in the works. That will be fun in the months to come. So thank you so much. Well, I am Keith. This is Life Journeys Production Studios. This is the post show. And who knows, you might see Ratso next week. So stay tuned. I'll see you then. Mix effects.